So we're back. We're looking at XLE. This is the energy index that we found. Again, the index XLE, that's a spider SPDR type index. And I just found them to be the most convenient index fund that has these different sectors marked out. And that's more or less the story of how I found this one and why I chose to track this. Um, Again, before I get started, if you have any opinions on this sector or a specific stock in the industry that you'd uh, like to discuss or anything like that, by all means, let me know in the comments, and I'd be happy to look into it and just talk about it. But yeah, let's get into this one. So right off the bat, this one is different than the others, and what I mean by that is it looks like when we originally checked this, and again, because I'm new to this one and a lot of these, this is really only the second time I'm seeing this one. But the first time when we looked at it, we drew in these purple lines, which they're not perfectly parallel, but kind of close. And when we looked at this one, it was, let's see, back just about 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago. It looks like on the 7th, so that would have been during this point, somewhere in this red bar. It looks like based on the price, it was 85, so it's right around here when we looked, and we did not do anything with it. I thought it could continue to fall, and it did. It fell a lot more than I would have thought. It fell so much that it broke the uptrend line that we drew in originally. Not by a lot, but it fell enough that it broke that uptrend. Again, I think it's fair to keep it in for now. We'll see how it plays out. And then just for our knowledge, I'm going to look this up. XLE. I just want to refresh myself on who the top holdings are in this one, just so we're all aware of it. So again, this is like ExxonMobil, Marathon, um, Chevron. Not too familiar with these other ones. Um, but okay, yeah. So I get the idea. It's Exxon, it's Chevron. It's mainly oil companies, I guess. Yeah, this makes up 74%. Exxon's a solid 24. Chevron's another near 19. So it's mainly oil. I'll be honest. Whenever I first pulled this one, I thought it'd be more like solar and electric, but it's dominated by oil. So that was interesting to see. So that kind of makes sense. Oil might be pulling back. Um, this one we drew in the uptrend back in late 2020, and again, now we've kind of updated the chart to show the past 2 years as opposed to 3 years as our initial point. I just want to do a quick check on the quarterlies. So this goes back to the very beginning, just by a quarterly chart. It looks like most of the time it really kind of hangs out between 67 and 44, give or take. Um, I think if we were to draw in another point, I'm going to draw in one more line just for my own sake, right around here. We'll make this line blue also. So it looks like we have, I'm not really sure what this one is. I guess that must be based on the more recent times, because again, this is now quarterly, so it's not that many charts, or bars, I mean. So all we have marked out here, and this one, we could actually probably just move that up a little bit, see how that plays out. Um, uh, we might change it once we zoom back into the weekly chart, but this seems like the ideal range for this. So this seems way overvalued. Um, if we look at, again, I probably even shouldn't look at this. P ratio 7, so it's not crazy. Um, Something to keep in mind there. Um, yeah, it just looks like overall it looks very overvalued, just based on this chart alone. Uh, let's see, this peak back here was back in 2014. I don't recall anything happening. Again, I didn't really follow oil back then, but that seems to be a high. Let's go to a monthly chart. We'll zoom back out. So there's that peak, I think. Is that the peak? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, the more I look at this one, it looks like maybe we should short this. And I might be okay with doing that. Um, yeah, I'm definitely considering it. Uh, I'll look into this one over the weeks to come. I'm gonna mark this one. I'll mark this yellow just to catch my attention here. Um, Obviously, kind of what we need to be aware of is the holdings. These holdings could change. I don't know how often they update the holdings, if it's quarterly, monthly, but that's something to just think about. Uh, Speaking of myself here, um, in seeking to track the performance of the index, the fund employs a replication strategy. It generally invests substantially all but at least 95% of its assets in the security. The index includes companies that have been identified as energy companies, oil, gas, and consumable fuels, and energy equipment and its services. Okay, so it doesn't tell me, at least not in that quick paragraph, how often they update it. But that would be something that could kind of counter this, is if it starts pulling back in the next couple weeks or months or potentially a quarter or two, they could just reallocate the funds into something that is growing, at least in stock price, and then all of a sudden the whole kind of chart changes. So I'm not sure how quickly they make moves like that. I can't imagine it would be fast, but at the same time, it could be. So, but yeah, just looking at this, even now at a monthly trend, if this one's gonna fall, uh, yeah, there's a chance it could fall back into this range between 43 and 60. So that is something to keep in mind. And then if we zoom back into where we were, it's broken this uptrend. I think if we give it another week and we see it continue to fall, because currently, and we'll just update the chart here. So it was at 85 the last time we checked, and now all of a sudden it's down at 76. So there's still room for this one to continue to fall. So 76, the buy point, that's interesting. So for this one, a buy point, I think it could stutter at about 71. So I'm just going to update this to show the original buy point was 43, and then 71, it could stutter there. But what we're going to do is update this to show a sell point of like now, I guess. Like now. We'll see how this one plays out over the weeks. I think what we'll need to do, so this is all I did, and I'll just say broke uptrend. But I think what we'll do is with this tracker, after I do a run through, I might just make a copy. I don't know if that makes sense, but we'll try it. Cause yeah, I'm constantly like just thinking ahead. I'd be constantly like overwriting the old, like the last time I look at it, to the up to date information, and it'd be nice to kind of go back in time and see what I was seeing, uh, you know, that previous month or that previous week or just however often I check. It'd be nice to look back. I know I can look at the videos, but just to kind of look at it on a spreadsheet real quickly as opposed to watching a video, uh, just something to keep in mind. So we'll keep an eye on this one, but this one, based on it breaking that uptrend, there is a decent chance. I could definitely see this one falling to 71 for sure. I think it's going to act as resistance. Don't know for how long, but if it goes through this point, I think it could easily fall to 61, uh, just based on the fact that it really flew through 60 to 70. It flew through that point. So if it crashes through 71, I think it could easily drop to 60. And then if it goes through 60, you might be back in the 43s. Don't know how long that would take. Might take a couple months, a couple weeks. I don't know. Looks like there was strong sell exposure here. So this might be one you want to short. We'll look into it though. We'll definitely look into it. Again, that's because the whole Nvidia thing kind of threw me off. But yeah, something to think about here. This could be one that we want to short this one and just kind of see how it plays out. I might take a gamble on it, in all honesty. But that's how I'm seeing it. So XLE index right here. So it looks like it broke the uptrend, so I made that note. Buy point would be 71. It could bounce at that point, possible. But I think, I mean, based on what I'm seeing, I think it's going to keep going through that point. But again, just how I'm seeing it right now, currently at 76. A very strong buy point would be 43. 71 could be a tentative buy point, depending on how many shares you want to get invested in this index. Maybe 71, you could give it a shot at 1. Ultimately, I'm kind of thinking this might be a good one to actually short. And you could make a decent amount because going from 76 down to an ultimate 43, I mean, that's like a 50% return on that. And I think you could get it pretty quickly. It's just, we'll see. I'm definitely going to look into this. But that's how I'm seeing it. So let me know what your thoughts are. And, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.